Hello everybody, my name is Alan from Sauber-Lab and today will be another video about Rclone. I know, this tool is quite good, this reason that I want to show. In this video I will show an option that I did myself in my system where I have a cloud system, in my case was a Google Drive, where I have all my media in the Google Drive and I can access it local or make a mounting point local. But at the same time I have others applications as Sonar, Radar, LiDAR and others in the same family for R, where they manage all my media and initially they copy all my data in the local cloud. And then after 6 hours they will get all this data and transfer for the cloud. These 6 hours is good enough for then my Plex can manage this libraries research, so they will not use all my IPs. The same system can be used in Megan or can use OneDrive and others cloud base that you can use. So if you like this idea and want to learn a little bit more, we're gonna show in this video. But first, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe for the channel and let's do it. Before I start to do any configuration, anything, I will explain what I have and what I come from, so it's easy for you guys to understand and see if it's suitable for your application. First of all, we have our cloud. Our cloud in my case will be the Google Drive. You can have any cloud base that you want. To the Rclone, I will do a Rclone or cloud folder where they will make a mount for my cloud. And also will have a local cloud or local folder that will have all my cloud information. To the Mergerfs, I will merge between the cloud and the local cloud to make my home media. Once that's all my files start to be downloaded, they will download exactly my local cloud. After a while, they will transfer everything for my cloud, and that's everything will be visible only a media. Doesn't matter if it's a local or it's a cloud, they will be seen as the same thing. So in this way, we're gonna need to make some cache to get more speed and avoid that will be any delay in your experience. Have this one in mind, I will go first through my operating system that I'm using. In my case, I'm using the OpenMedia Val 5. It's already the 6th release, yes, but it's still in beta option, so it's not good to run a production or at least all environment in a beta system, otherwise you can have a risk that you can lose all your data, and I don't want to happen it with me. After this one I have a processor Ryzen 9, but I'm only using one core of those, so I'm not use all my 12 cores for these applications. I have only 1 GB of RAM, so I'm using a virtual machine, only because I want to have everything compact and I didn't want to get another computer on to do it. So I have this one, I will go in my file system, and in this file system I have 2 hard drives. Basically the first one that will be my operating system, that it's compounded with 8 GB of raw capacity. And I have another one that it's 8 GB as well, where I will have all my data. Here in this hard drive I just create, so I have only 44 KB of space, so almost nothing. In this hard drive labeled as a data, I have my share folders. My share folder that created is home, so we'll have only one share folder where I will install all my applications. Also, in my SMB, I share these share folders, and my users has been created only one user called Sauber-Lab, where they will have access for everything and run everything for this application. In this video, I will go only through the how you mount using the Rclone and how you do this difference of locations of local cloud and merge everything. Also, I will show how you can install the Plex, just it. The rest of the application Rs or Sonar, Radar, LiDAR and others that you can install, I will go through a next video. Only because I realized that if I do everything in one video, it will end up a really long video and will take longer than expected and no one will want to watch so long. So I decided to share in 2 parts. Have everything explained, all the scope and everything that we're gonna do, I will go for the basic thing. Have everything in mind, we go now in our SMB where we're gonna create all my folders that I'm gonna use in my installation. So I come here in my SMB, I open my home and will create 2 folders as a start. The first one I will create as a Docker app, where I will have all my applications here, or can be called Docker config, but I like this name. Also, we'll create another one called Rclone. This one that will save all my data from Rclone. Remember, you don't need it to be in the same file or in the same folder. You can have one SSD where you're gonna run all your Docker applications that will look better and run better for your Plex and your media center, and that you have a second hard drive only to run my cloud or all my data, my media. So don't need it to be so fast dispositive, so you can use a hard drive for it. Inside this Rclone, I will create more few folders. The first one will be cloud, and the second one will be cloud local. As well, I will create my other one called cache, and the last one I will get as a log. It's quite easy to understand. Cloud, where will be all my data, cloud, my point for my Google Drive. My cloud local, where they will copy initially all my data that I have locally, and that will transfer cloud. And my cache, where they will keep my cache data only to have a fast access, and all the log of all the information that is running, for I know if it's running well or not. You don't need to do this log, but I like to do it just because I want to know what is going on. If they finish to do my upload or finish to do anything that it's preset to do. Have this one, now we're gonna go for our putty. You can use the SMD to run it, you can use any terminal that you want, you can go directly physically in your server, but I like to use through the SSH, through the putty. So I will open my putty and open this page. The first time that you run this SSH, they will ask you if you are sure that you want to allow it. So yes, I want to run it, and I open this page. Let's maximize it and do our login as a root. If you are using any other operating system, you need to do a login for your user, and that after try to login as a root. Only because some application that you're gonna run will have a root effect, and it's easy only to avoid to put sudo and get the password all the time. Remember, I'm using the OpenMedia Val. You don't need to use a specific this operating system. You can do Ubuntu, you can do in a Debian, you can do anything that you want. Even Raspberry Pi work. Only you need to do similar steps. So now we're gonna run as a root and put my password. Here we'll clean this page only to be a little bit tight. So the first thing that we need to do is update our system. To update our system, we run sudo apt update, and that we're gonna already go for upgrade and autoremove. We want that our system eats everything in time and will not have any issue in the future to have library missing or have application not updated. So we're gonna run it and we're gonna wait a little bit. This one could take a little bit longer or less, depending how often you update your system. Hopefully it will not take so long. Once that appears that all the update is done, so we can clear this page and go for the next step. First thing that we need to do is run our Rclone configuration. If I come here and run our Rclone configuration, maybe you don't have the core install, so you need to install it. But let's see. Yes, you don't have the core install. So to install the core, it's really easy. It's only you can run this following step. Sudo apt install core. They will ask you want to install. I will put yes and enter. Once that finished, we can run exactly the same application for Rclone to install it. And they will take a little bit to install, not so long. They will show this information that for you to add a new configuration, you can only go to rclone config. So we can come here and copy this one because we're gonna use it. So we can clear this page to be a little bit tight again, and we paste this Rclone configuration and run it. First thing that we need to do is to add our Google Drive account. To add our Google Drive account, we go for a new remote. So I put N and enter. I decide the name of this drive or this remote. I can put any name that I want. In my case, I will put as a G drive, only because I'm using the Google Drive. If you want to put as a drive or any name, it's fine. So I put enter and they open all this page. In my case, I'm using the Google Drive, so I will put as a drive and enter. So they ask you to define your client ID. I really suggest you to do this client ID and do your configuration through the IP key. But in my case, I'm not to do it. But if you want, if you look here, you can copy this configuration, rclone.org/drive, make your own client ID. And this way, you're not running the option that you don't have enough APIs to run your applications. Anyway, we're gonna run as a standard. We're gonna use the client IP from the Rclone. So I put enter. Now they ask, you want to choose a security API. No, I don't want, so I will use the standard one. And now they give you an option how much access that you want to have in each application. You can have a full access, so you're gonna be able to read, write and edit any file that is there, or you can define a little bit less. Imagine that you are not sure that you want to copy more data there, so you can only put as a write or as a read, or do only a fail drive or anything that you want. In our case, we're gonna do as a full access, so we're gonna put as a drive. Then they ask, you want to define some name for your folder, supposedly computers. No, I don't want to do anything, so I want the standard. So I come and enter again. They ask if you want to define any service. No, I don't want to define. And they ask, you want to do any extra configuration? No, I don't want. I want to be the standard one. If you need some extra advanced configuration, you can put yes, but in our case, we'll put no and enter. Then they will ask which kind of machine that you run. Because if you are physically in that machine and you have a desktop option, if you put yes, they will pop up that page for your authorization. But in our case, we are not using it. We are using an external computer. In this case, we are using the SSH. So I needed to go there and put no and enter. In this case, they will give you a URL that you need to access to do the authentication. So you access it, get your authentication code and come back in this page. In this case, they will ask if you're using a shared drive. No, in my case, I'm using my own Google Drive, so I will put no and enter. Then they will ask you to review all the information if it's correctly. In my case, it's correctly, so I will put yes and enter. Once that they have here, we can go for the next remote access. To create our next remote access, we're gonna do the encrypt. Why? Because I want that all my media it's encrypted before go to my Google Drive. Because I don't want that Google know what I have there. It doesn't matter what I have, I want my privacy. And a lot of cloud common look what data that you have and you don't infringe any privacy or anything. So I want to have everything encrypted, so no one know what I have inside. To do it, I will create a new remote access. I will put new, enter. I will define as a crypt, G drive and put enter. Now they will give the big list again. In my case, I will go for the crypt option. So I will type crypt and put enter. Now is the time where you need to define your remote name. As I told, will be G drive, 2 dots, and then we'll have the folder that I have my media. In the time that I created this G drive, I was creating for an MB, but work better for Plex, this option. So I will put as a MB here, but only because I created this folder. I really don't suggest you to use your Google Drive to have all your application without any folder, because then all your data will be there, will be a mess and will be complicated for you. So in this way, I create only a folder that had all media. Have this one, I will put enter, and that they will ask what kind of encryption that you want to do. I like that everything is encrypted, everything works well. So I will go for the standard option. But you have a different kind of encryption that you can do. You can do for a very simple file system, or you don't encrypt the file system, only encrypt the extension, so no one knows what's about. In my case, I want the standard one, so I'll go for the first option 1, and put enter. Now they ask, you want to encrypt the folder? Yes, I want to encrypt the folder as well, because I don't want that no one know what is inside and try to discover what file is that one. So we'll go for 1 again and put enter. They will ask if you want to generate your password or you want to use your own password. I really suggest you to generate a password and put a really strong one, because all your data will be protected against of this one. But in my case, I will use my own password that I use for everything, so it's easy for me. But generate it, please generate it and put really strong and save in a place that you never forget, because otherwise you're gonna lose your encryption key and you're gonna have a lot of trouble and no one wants to pass for this one. Once that you lose your encryption key, it will take really long time to recover and don't have ways to recover, so don't lose it. Have this one, I will put yes, and I will add my encryption key. Here I'll add my encryption key, put enter, add again, and enter again. Then they will ask, you want to get a pass code or a second encryption key? Yes, I want, because I want a little bit more protect. So I'll put yes, enter, and pass my encryption key. And they will say, you want to do any advanced configuration? No, I don't want. I want the standard one. I put no. And they will ask, you can review everything's okay for yourself? Yes, I think that everything's okay. It's a crypt drive. The name of this one will be G drive inside the folder MB, and all my passwords will be encrypted. So it's fine, I can put yes, enter, and I can quit this one. Let's see if it's really work my encryption. I can go rclone ls, and then the name of the remote that I create, in my case will be crypt G drive, and put 2 dots and enter. If everything's okay, they will appear all my folder here, so I can stop here, and I know that everything is working, so I have access for it in my crypt. So we'll clean this page, and now I can start to do the next configuration. This next configuration, I will do my mount point to my Rclone. You have two options. You can do a schedule job, and all the time that I start the system, it's working. Or you can do a system that all the time that the system start, they will do it. In this case, we're gonna do a system. So I will need to create this service. To create service, it's really easy, but let's first locate all my configuration for my Rclone. To do it, I will put ls, and I know that I have nothing. ls/a, and I have my configuration. So I will want to enter my configuration. We'll put cd.config, and they will see what is inside. I put ls, a, and I have Rclone. So I can come here and put cd rclone and ls again. And inside this Rclone, I have only my configuration. So if you want to access your configuration, will be basically this absolute path. So in this way, I will create my first configuration. But before I create this configuration, I will get my Notepad++ and edit this configuration so it makes sense for everyone. Don't worry, you don't need to type it manually, because in the description I will leave how this configuration that I did work, so it's easy for you. So with our Notepad++ open, we're gonna see what we need to configure. I already created my service, or a copy what you're gonna use in your service, and a description I put Rclone mount service, that's fine. What they will wait to start this service is to have the network-online.target. Why? Because I want to mount this system only after I have my Rclone running. Otherwise, they will not run correctly and will be bad for me. So it's better to wait my service. After this one, they will have a notification spec, and they will do Rclone mount, and here they will look all my configuration. After this one, they will create a log file. In this log file will be a lab for info, and here I will save my log file. Where I'm gonna save my log file, I will show you. You can come here in our Open Media file again and open my share folders. And here in my share folders, I can click in any of those options, column, and add absolute path. Here in my absolute path, there already appear my absolute path, so I can come here, inspect, double click it, and copy this absolute path. Now I can return my Notepad++ and will pass it. If you guys remember, inside this home, we'll have the folder called Rclone. So we'll put Rclone. And after this one, we'll have a folder called log. So we'll save all my log here. After this one, I will use my user agent, Sauber-Lab, because I'm using my user as a Sauber-Lab. You can use any user that you want, or you can leave empty. But in my case, I want to dedicate all this configuration only for my user, Sauber-Lab. So in this way, I will use my umask as a 022, my JID as 100, and my UID as 1000. How it's cover it? It's easy. I come back my putty, I will put ID and Sauber-Lab. And in this way, I'll appear already my JID and my UID, so I know what is it. So I can return my Notepad++, and I will put that I want to allow others as well, because I don't want only this user to have access for my Rclone, I have other users. After this one, I will put as a timeout for 1 hour. I will put an interval for pull for 15 seconds. I don't want that to stay pull all minute or every second. I want each 15 seconds. Then now I will configure my cache configuration. This cache is only interesting if you want to do a cache. I really suggest you, principally because sometimes the latency between your cloud and your computer is quite high, and that this will affect a little bit your experience for your system. So I put my cache as 1 hour. My cache location that will define, if you guys remember, will be exactly the same. So we'll put here Rclone, and that's inside this Rclone will be the folder called cache. That is great for me. What kind of mode of cache that I want? I want a full mode. What size of cache? Guys, remember that my hard drive is only 8 GB, so if I put 150 GB, it will not work at all, so we need to reduce it. To reduce, I will put only 5 GB, why not? And that will maximum time for this cache be there, it's 12 hours, and that now I will make the mount where I want. Remember guys that I put that encrypt G drive. Yes, I put my connection as a encrypted G drive, and now I will put the location that I define. Location will be exactly the same folders from the Rclone. This is that I want to put everything in the same place to be easy. So it will be snv dev home Rclone cloud. After this one, they will make the same fuse mount, so it will be exactly the same cloud, and that's the restart on abort. So if it stop, they will restart it, and that will be restart in 5 seconds. Interval of try for 6 seconds, and the maximum times that they will try is 3 times. And that's the install. There will be a multi-user target. Have everything set the way that I want. I will come here, I copy this information and come back in my putty. So my service will call this one nano Rclone service, and I put enter. So remember that I copied before, so now I can paste it, Ctrl X, Y and enter. And now we're gonna copy this service that we define in another folder. To do it, it's easy. We're gonna copy it for my system. To do so, we're gonna run this following step: sudo cp rclone service and the location for my cp8c system md system, and I copy it. Now we can run our system, or can enable the system that all the time that I start my computer will run the system. So I'll put as enable. I put sudo systemctl enable rclone service, and now we're gonna start the service. To start the service, we're gonna run sudo ctl system start rclone service. It will take some seconds until we start, and now we can check if we really start. We're gonna run the same script, that it's sudo systemctl status rclone service, and if they appear active running, so it's running, and here is the command that you're running, so we can check if it's really running well. To check if it's really running well, we're gonna open our cloud, and here already appear all my media. So everything, it's not local based, it's cloud based. They are only making the mount location here. Have this one. Now we're gonna need to do our merge fs. To do our merge fs, first thing we're gonna go back for our putty. We press Ctrl C only to stop this service. Let's clean our page, and now we're gonna need to install our merge. Otherwise you cannot run a merge fs without install this application. So we're gonna come here and put sudo apt install mergefs and put enter. They will take some seconds until they finish the installation. That is quite fast. So now we can check if we have installed in which version that we are running. So we're gonna run mergefs and version and put enter. So we are running the version 2.32.6. So here now we can create our service. To create our service, so now we can create our mergefs service, but before it we're gonna do the same step that we did before. We're gonna open our Notepad++. Before anyone start to copy it and try to tape it, don't worry, this is exactly active, or this script is already in the description, so you can go there and copy. So let's focus what we need to edit it. First one will be the description, mergefs mount, no problem at all. Requirements, they need to have the Rclone service started, and they will only start after the Rclone service start. Otherwise they will not start, because what's the point to merge something that didn't start? So now the tape of the activity will be forking, and that they run the following script. Mergefs, they will mergefs first the local cloud, the absolute path for local cloud, with the cloud, and both will be saved in my folder media. After this one I have some strings that I define. Don't need to worry about if, but if you want to learn a little bit what string that's better for you, you can go directly in the mergefs website, and you have an overview for all the strings that you can use. After this one, I will put a fuse mount in exactly the same media. So I will kill it no, and I will start on fail. If I fail anything, they will start it. And that will have the same application for multi-user target. Have this one done, I will copy all this script and go back in our putty. Here in our put, I will create exactly the same nano mergerfs and point service. and I run it. So now I can paste all my script that I did, Ctrl X, enter, enter, and now I have my service created. Let's see if it's really great. I will put ls/a, and I have already my Mergerfs service, my rclone, and my rclone service. Now we need to do exactly the same step that we did before. We need to copy all my information from this rclone location to my system location. To do it, I will do this follow script. Sudo cp mergerfs service, etc. systemcl system, and then run it. Now we're gonna enable this activity. Then all the time that I start computer, this activity will be on. So we'll put sudo systemctl enable mergerfs service and put enter. Then create this activity, this service. Now we're gonna start this service because I don't want to restart my system now. To do it, I will run sudo systemctl start mergerfs and put enter. And now we're gonna check if it's really run it. To check it, we're gonna check the status. So we come here and put status and run it. Look it, they appear as active, so it's running. Let's check if it's really running. We open our folder. It's easy. I come here in my media, and here in my media appear all my data. That is fine. I will create a new text note as a test, and I come here and return. So now they should appear everything in my local cloud. Let's see, test perfectly. And if I appear my cloud, they don't have. So all my data will come here initially for my local cloud, and after I will need to move manually or automatically for my cloud. So far everything to work, but I don't want to need to move all my local information manually. I want to make a script that every time they run automatically. To do it, it's really simple. We're gonna run a Sauber-Lab. To do it, we come here back, we go Ctrl C and clear all this page, and we run sudo tab e and rerun it. They ask what kind of editor that you want to use. In my case, I want to use the easiest one, Nano. So I'll put 1 and enter. They appear already this page, so I will go in the end and will create my script to run it automatically. So I try to get all this information in my Word because I try to use the Notepad++ and it's too long and it's quite difficult to understand. So to be easy to explain, we're gonna do this way. Basically, we're gonna define that each 6 hours, we're gonna run this move. Why? Because I can define as well that each 6 hours the Plex will do the scan for the library. So once that finishes the scan for the library, what's the point to have everything local? We can put in clouds, and that's the Plex already did all the job, so will not consume all your IP. After this one, we're gonna define that's Rclone move, the location that I have my local data, and that's my crypt mounting point that define that will mount everything. After this one, I want to copy all my configuration in this location. Remember that I told about my absolute path? Yes, it's this one, and that's they will save my log. All the log, for I know what's going on, will be saved in my absolute path, rclone, log, and upload log. And that's what kind of log that I want. I want that will be as an info, and I define that after all the empty folders, they will be deleted. They will make a fast list once that this program will run, and after this one, all the items that will be added, they will not really look for this data, and they will look at least all the items that has been uploaded at minimum at 6 hours. I don't want that they do a list for everything that's just put there, and maybe the Plex don't have time to upload the list, so I want to prevent it. Have this one in mind, I will copy this information and go back for my put. Here in my put, I will pass this line, and I will see what's about. It's exactly the same. The first time that I copied it, I was having the impression that I only copied the end. I started to delete it and realized that no, it's correct, and that I leave this way. So now I have this one, I will put Ctrl X, yes, and enter. What we need to check now, we need to install our Plex. To install our Plex, we're gonna use this image, Linux server Plex. This image has been updated 8 days ago and have over 500 million downloads, so it's used quite a lot. So we can go down and see what architecture that Plex will work. In this case, we work in 64 and 86 bits, so we work either for a computer or ARM for a Raspberry Pi or any ARM system. So we can come a little bit down. So we're gonna run through the Docker Compose, so we can copy the Docker Compose, come back in our portrait, and open it and come in stock. In the stock, we come here, add a stock, and we define the name. First name will be Plex, and that's we paste this one. After have to paste this one, we can start to modify the information that we want. Let's see what it's important for us. The image that you're gonna download will be the Linux server Plex, that's fine. The container name will be Plex. The network will be host, and that's PUID PGID. If you remember, in the start of the video, I show how it's covered the PUID PGID. In my case, will be 1000 and 100, so I will remove here. The version that I run is a Docker, so it's fine. Plex claim, no, I don't need to do it, only if you guys want, but it's not necessary to do. And now the volumes. The first volume that we're gonna use will be our configuration. If you guys remember, I create everything or all the volumes in my home. So I come here, my open media file, open this one, and inspect my absolute path. Copy here, return here, pass, and create inside the Docker app, and we'll create as a Plex. So we'll create all my configuration inside this Plex configuration. Before anyone asks, I will tell you. If you're running with 8 GB of hard drive, forget, because Plex you use a lot. Basically, if your library is quite big, they will have a problem because they will run out of space. So don't try to run Plex only in 800 bytes. I suggest you to run at least in a hard drive of 256 or 512 GB of hard drive or SSD principally. If you're running a small hard drive, they will end up using all the information or all the thumbnails that the Plex keep. They will use all your capacity, and soon you don't have any space at all. After this one, we're gonna define our media where will be saved. So I'll copy the same, I'll put Rclone inside its media. I don't need as a TV, I can define as a media. So after this one, I can locate each folder in themselves, and everything will be only media. To be easy for me, I can remove the last one. And once that I define everything, don't forget to define restart and last stop, but it's right there, we do not gonna move it. And we come here and click deploy the stack. Now will be that boring time that they will be download the image, install the image, look for all the database and everything be ready for you. Once that they finish to deploy the stack, they will show that amazing message that deploy has been done and that we can look if it's everything to work. So let's wait. Once that's appeared this page, we can come in our container, click in Plex, open the log and see what is going on. If appear that's the log okay, so should be working, let's try to access the Plex. To access the Plex, we're gonna change the port. The port that you're gonna use will be 32400/web. And we enter this page. So first time that appear, they already appear this page for Plex and they ask you to log in for your account for Plex. So I will put singing. After this one, they will ask you to start the first configuration. We got it. Before anything, they will ask you if you want to get a Plex pass. In my case, I will say no, but if you want, you have more applications. I never try it. Plex never wants to give me a free one, so I don't know if it's worth or not. Let's put next. And we wait a little bit until they show the next option. Now we can put next, and they can allow you to add your library. Let's put add library. We define what kind of library. In my case will be a films, yes, the same name. I can define any name that I want, but let's leave a film. Add folder, browse media, and I put media, and I want movies. And I can put add. Here they already are gonna appear my movies, so I will show how you can scan it in the future. I'll get add library. They already appear and I can add all my libraries. Can be any one that you want. It don't need to be films, can be media, can be my own movies, can be anything that I want. It's there. So now I can put next. They will ask if you want to get Plex app. For me it's fine, but if you want, you can click here and that it will open for your TV, will open for your phone, it will open for anything that you want. So we can come here and put done. Once that is done, if you come here in the configuration, you already appear this page. We can come here in the dashboard to see what is going on. But now we come here in library and they start to scan our library. If I click in actions, they will show what they're doing in our library for this OMV5, the name that I define. If I have more ones, I can come here in home or everything. In my case, I will leave this way. They will go through all the scan and check everything it's okay. Once that is happening, you can start to watch your media. So as I told, for now we stop in this stage, we finish to install Plex, and the next video I will try to go through which application that you can install to manage this library. I will try to do a general one that will show how to start LiDAR, radar, polar, and all the applications, so you can manage all your library as a whole system. I didn't want to make everything in one video because in this way it will be really long video and some people will stop in the middle or don't want to watch all this Rclone configuration, only want to go to the R programs and everything. So if you like this video and think that's useful and you think that you're gonna install your system, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe for the channel, and see you next time. Ciao.